Hey y'all. So today we are talking about social media and being in a relationship, navigating a relationship, a marriage, a relationship, whatever it is, where two people are together in a relationship and having to navigate social media. Um, there's times where you have people who are in your inbox. There's so many different ways that people can just have access to you. I don't care if you're playing the game or whatever it is. And we're just going to talk about how we have to navigate in a social media world, and be in a relationship and having boundaries and all of those good things. So, babe, I just wanted to know, like, how do you feel about um, the way things are, in today's time with social media and, just having that accessibility, or people having that accessibility to you?
I think that for me, can't speak for other guys, but for me being a guy is different from being a female. It seems like guys are more willing to go into somebody's DM messages, shoot them a naked dick pic or whatever it is. For me, I don't get that. I don't get that action, so I don't necessarily have to like worry about it. But even if I did, it's ultimately left up to me. I know what I have in you, so I'm not trying to entertain anybody. You know, excuse me. In the maybe was that 5 years ago? Maybe 5 years ago, something like that happened where I thought it was friendly, and then it turned into something else, and it almost messed us up. Where I just had to cut it off. And even friends and everything like that too. But for me, women ain't sliding in my DMs. You're a woman. Guys are more thirsty. Not that a woman can't be thirsty, but it just seems like guys are more thirsty, in my opinion. From just different dudes.
Yeah, I think you're right. I totally agree with you. It is, it can be like casual and like no harm, no foul type of situation that could just turn into something else, and you don't even realize it's turned into something else. But back in the day when we were younger, we didn't have that accessibility. It was a lot easier to have relationships and stay to the course and stay focused, because you literally had to have somebody's phone number. Now people can call you randomly over the internet, like in your inbox, or just hit you up. They don't need your phone number. They can just hit you up. Um, so, people tell you, like, keep your man off social media or keep your woman off of social media, but I think it's kind of, it makes sense to put your person on social media at times, just to make sure people are aware that, hey, I'm with somebody. And I think you do a really good job with doing that, and I feel like a lot of guys don't do it, but I think that you do a great job with, just keeping me like on your social media, actively on your social media.
So I remember you telling me one time that it doesn't, like when a man gets married or when he has somebody, if females know that that man is married or he has a girlfriend, that makes him more attractive. That makes them, the other female, be like, well, what's so special about him? Or if they did know me, well, why I didn't know this side of him or whatever. We watched plenty of shows and they, whatever, dude might be dating a chick, she break up with him, and they break up, and then he get with somebody else, and now here she come. Or vice versa, here the guy come. Whatever, but I'm just talking about the guys, I'm talking about the women coming after the guys. You've specifically told me that, I'm not a woman, I don't understand every, men and women kind of think differently, thought processes maybe. And whether whether I was on social media or not, whether I was putting you out there telling the world that you're my wife, because that shouldn't matter. if I don't want you, it don't matter if I'm putting you on there every day. I can still be talking to somebody else. So before social media, people were still cheating. So, like you said, this gives it easier access, but it starts with the person. So whether you're on social media or not, what do people say? Oh, I keep my relationship private or whatever, and that's nothing wrong with that. But if you're keeping it private because you're trying to not put your man out there, or put your woman out there, it kind of says to me, it kind of says a lot about how you guys have something. Because if you see somebody in the street, you see them at the club, you see them at a party, you see them in the grocery store, a dude or a woman can get at a guy. They can get at a chick.
But look, does that happen now? Nowadays, a guy will walk right past you, even if they're attracted to you. They don't roll up on you like they used to back in the day. They'll jump. They'd rather go find you on social media and talk to you as opposed to just saying, "Hey, how you doing? What's your phone number? Whatever." You know, because I remember back in the day, guys would talk. You know, they would pull up and they'll talk or whatever. That's not how it goes these days. It's like I said, you know me. You said, you go to the Food for Less, nobody will speak. But that's because people are so accustomed to the DMs now. It's stupid. Like,
so
it's so dumb.
back in the day before that, nobody talked. So it wasn't for me. I'm talking about for myself. Nobody talked. I had to talk to somebody, but if I was hanging like the crew of guys I hung with, I was probably, I'm gonna say, at best third pick, more than likely fourth pick. You know, I had some guys that they was chick magnets. If I went out with these three dudes I'm got in my head, it's no way I'm getting nobody. Period. I don't have no fly clothes. I ain't got no money. I ain't got no fly ride. Back then, that mattered in the setting where I was going. Now, I can't speak for what everybody, but in the settings where I was going, those three things mattered. Strictly if a woman saw you first and your looks, your whole little get up, I just didn't have it.
Wow.
Wow. I didn't.
Wow. Well, I mean, I know for sure, you got it now. And I saw it in you. You weren't the wealthiest man ever when I met you, but there was something else I saw in you. But then again, that takes a grown woman to see that, somebody who's not looking at what you necessarily have, but listening to what your mindset and what you brought to the table at that moment. Because I saw your worth and your value, because I'm like, wow, this man is doing this. He's got side hustles. He's taking a lot of you were just doing things. You were just focused, so I was thinking about the long term, the end game, like what we can do together, so I'm glad that we had this conversation. I think it's very beneficial for people, because I think a lot of times people are not understanding how social media can impact your relationship. Like I said, there's so many inboxes connected to so much on every single platform. I don't even understand why they need an inbox for a game or whatever. I've gotten put in those situations in our relationship, and if me and him ain't strong, it can be a situation. I'm saying back in the day when we weren't as strong, we had to go through some things. We had to grow through some things, and I was led astray by the enemy. I bit the apple, in that realm. But now, as we've progressed and we've gotten older and we've gotten more mature and we've gotten the tools and the help and we were in prayer and all those things, now we can kind of understand it and we can see it now. But before, we probably didn't see it as, clearly. So
people, social media is a good thing, it can be a bad thing, which we know. People can put what they want on there. They can put all the good stuff, which will allow somebody that's looking at them, whether older or younger, to say, I want what he has. He's putting on there, he with all these bad chicks, and they don't have to be famous or nothing. and it can give a guy a false sense of reality that doesn't understand what it takes to actually be in a relationship, hold a relationship down. I'm talking about those guys in that mind frame. It almost goes back to the when I was younger and I'm going to school, I'm going to high school, and I'm seeing these dudes roll up in the low riders, in the Cutlasses on D's, Suzuki Sidekicks on D's. I know that's, you can laugh at it now, some people may, but back then the Suzuki Sidekick with some 15.8 Daytons was the business. It had the bumps in it. Playing Eric B and Rakim, they was getting the chicks. The chicks at my school, it was funny. Then back in '88, this is '88, '89, the light skinned dudes was in. I'll Be Sure, the Christopher Williams dudes was in. They was in there. Michael Jordan didn't cut off his hair at about 91, so the dark skinned brothers, didn't have a chance yet. So I just know it can be looked at two different ways, but it takes, and then that also goes back to how that young man was raised, what he saw, and go to the young woman, what did she see? Who raised her? Whatever, right? Like, it's so many factors.
Yes.
So many factors that can be attributed to that.
That's true. Well, as technology evolves, it's going to get deeper. We're going to have more of all of this. Like, it's going to be, it's going to be like, that's just like the norm. Social media, it works. People are making money on social media. There's so many things, but I just want to make sure that, I just hope that it doesn't impact, especially Black love. I feel like we are already having, struggles with the family dynamic. So I'm just hoping that, we can find some kind of resolution to make sure that we protect or get the word out, or have these conversations about how social media can negatively impact the relationship.
So two people that's getting together, and we're gonna say age doesn't matter, because age doesn't make you smarter, whatever. Two people getting together, what advice would you give them to, navigate the social media world? Like, would you say, should they be friends? Should they not be friends? What would you tell a young woman about navigating social media?
Yeah, so if I would tell a young woman just to be, be fully authentically her. Just be honest. If you have a mate, make sure you let people. I would say, show your mate. Talk to your mate on social media. Have that rapport. But I don't think they should hide anything. I don't think that they should, withhold anything. Of course you're gonna have situations where you're not gonna tell everything. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, as far as just be you. As long as your mate is comfortable with how you're presenting your content on social media, then do you.
So how about if if her and this guy gets together, he's on social media, but he's a guy. Certain guys, they don't really post, everyday things and what they doing, like a woman may. Like me, from what I see, guys are not as big of posters unless they doing some type of video. They speaking something, a guy I know, he gives inspirational quotes or something, but just to be taking selfies, you don't see a lot of guys posting no selfie pics. You know what I'm saying? That's just, at least I don't know about you and your world, but I don't see guys just posted up in the mirror talking about look at my fit. They ain't doing that. So the guy's not on social media. He's on there, but he's not posting a lot. And then he goes to the woman, he tells her, well, I'm cool with you posting, but I'm not like really all into it. and say if he doesn't like post her a lot, he posts her, but it's not like that's just not what he does. She looks at his page and said he's not a big poster. He may post once every 2 or 3 months, so he's clearly not into it like that.
Right.
So how should, if the guy tells her that I'm not a big poster, what would you give her advice for if she's like wanting to put him out there on Front Street? She's posting him, but then she wonders why he doesn't post her. Just say if that's the situation happens.
Yeah, well, I think it's, if he's really not a big poster and that's just not his style, then, I mean, they just need to have a conversation about it. And if she can't understand that he's just not into that, I mean, that's going to be a problem eventually. Because if that's what she wants from her mate, if that's a requirement and he's not doing it, then that's going to be a problem if that's her desire, right? But unfortunately, that's the part of that has to be a part of the conversation. Like, even with you, like, you told me, like, as far as my clothes and the way that my appearance is concerned, you're not tripping about me dressing, a way or sexy or provocative on social media because you have confidence and because you're just not tripping about that. You're like, you're not on that. But that's because we had a conversation about it, so I just think people just need to have the conversation.
I think that if that was a real situation, the guy's not a big poster, but he clearly loves his woman. He's clearly doing, I'm not going to say every other thing right, but I'm going to say he's 80% good. But he just don't post her. And if that's the guy that God chose for her and then she throws him away, I would feel really bad for her because she threw away somebody that could ultimately help her, in life with whatever God saw fit for this man to be in her life. I'm saying that from a God aspect. I get it. She want to post, she want him to post, but what if that's not where God is trying to take them in their life? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm talking about from that point.
Yeah.
You can't argue with God. You can argue with man, but I'm saying if God wanted this, I would feel really bad for that lady. Because I see, or I think that a lot of people have thrown they are talking about soulmate, they've thrown their soulmate away because they didn't come in the package that they wanted. I'm talking about the whole package. Whether it's the look, whether it's the money, whether it's the job, whether it's whatever it is, they've thrown them away. And that's sad.
Yeah, it's not sad, really. I don't think it's sad. That's on him.
No, it's sad. It's sad. I'm looking at it as sad because in this world, we may have needed that couple to be together to do something in the world to benefit everybody else. Yeah. That's why it's sad.
Yeah.
For me, I know what you're saying, but for me, that's why I'm saying it's sad because people wonder why they have kids with certain people or whatever. They get with a girl and first time, pregnant, had a condom on, pregnant. That's because God said you two are supposed to have a kid together, and I need that kid to have your personality and your personality. It can't be born, the kid can't be born with this person and that person. It got to become you two, whether y'all work out or not.
Right.
I believe that. Now, I ain't read that nowhere, that's just what I believe.
Yeah, true.
So, anyway, I know that's off the topic of the social
media. No, but still, that makes sense.
That just, that, like you said, the whole social media realm now is easy, but then it turns people off too, because so many females and if guys are getting hit up in their DM, they probably don't even check the DM messages no more. And somebody may genuinely be in there that's of some substance, but they getting hundreds, thousands, millions, whatever it is, I mean, like I said, I don't know what that feels like. It must be real easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's a different feeling for you to be pursued. When you've never been pursued, then versus the person who's always been pursued, you have a different appreciation for it. So just like me getting some Nikes. I have a different appreciation for them than some other people might. For real.
That's funny. Well, we would like to thank you for taking time to listen to our conversation on love and social media.